Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another before and after. So today we'll be looking at Overlord, a Nazi zombie movie. Yes, really. And so, yeah, this actually isn't the first Nazi zombie movie I've heard of. Yeah, really, I've heard of two others. Well, three if you count a sequel to Dead Snow, but I don't. I mean, I'm just counting those as the same. So, yeah, one of them's Dead Snow, obviously, and the other one I completely forgot the name of, but there is another one. So, yeah, there are actually two other Nazi zombie flicks. So, yeah, if you want to see Nazis die more than once somewhere else, you got options, I guess. Like, I think one of them's from Norway. So, yeah, you got bilingual options, too. Isn't that great? So, yeah, it's a Nazi zombie flick that is actually based off of a real World War II operation. I don't really know much of what happened during Operation Overlord, but, I know what happened in World War II. I know this film was very loosely based on it, if the fact that there are zombies in it didn't already indicate that to you, but, yeah, so, amazingly, this is not a historically accurate representation of that. And to a lot of people in the YouTube comments for this official trailer, that was a shock. Seriously, there's one black guy, and they were just like, oh my god, this is historically inaccurate. Okay, so, what did... It has zombies! Is seriously one guy the most unbelievable thing in that movie to you? Oh, yeah, I mean, the zombies I could believe happened, but this guy being involved in the war, don't believe it. I don't know why that was the suspension of disbelief overboard there, but, yeah, there it was. And also, a lot of people in the comment section for this movie also said that this isn't like the anime. Apparently, there's an anime called Overlord. Pissed a lot of people off that they were tricked into watching this instead, I guess. You know why exactly? I mean, like, in the first few seconds, if this doesn't look like the anime to you, then just leave. No one's gonna care. But yeah, so yeah, I pretty much scoured through a lot of the comments for this movie's trailer because there's an actor in it that I like. And so one of them that I've noticed in it that, I mean, like, he's fine. I've seen him in quite a few things. So yeah, I mean, like, seeing him in this was pretty cool, is Wyatt Russell. Now, I've seen him in pretty much 3 things. I've seen him in Black Mirror, the episode Playtest, which is one of my favorite episodes of that show because it's completely horror-based. So yeah, I like that. Then I've also seen him in Launch 49 for 2 whole episodes. So yeah, and I also saw him in Shimmer Lake. Well, this actor has actually been sort of typecast because, well, he tends to play surfer dude type of characters a lot. Most notable in Lodge 49. Again, I've only seen 2 episodes of that, so maybe he had a lot of character development later on down the line. I don't know. Maybe when Bruce Campbell showed up, then a lot of stuff started going on. I seriously gotta watch the rest of that show. But I am actually kind of interested in seeing him sort of go a little bit beyond his normal characters that he plays. I mean, like, he did do that a bit in Shimmer Lake, but he's not in that movie that much, despite his character being fairly important to the story. So, yeah, I don't think that I really got a chance to shine with that there, though. And I think that's kind of nice that he is giving a chance to show off his acting chops a little bit more, as I think that he can totally pull it off, and I'm interested in seeing where it goes with him for that. But then there's the actor that really sold me on this movie. Ian D. He's got a weird last name. The guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The guy who plays Fitz on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That guy. He was also in Filth and in Fear and also in The Fates. Yeah, okay, I know a lot about what this guy's been because I'm admittedly a bit of a fan of his. He's just a really good actor to me. And I really like him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, by the way, I did not get to talk about Season 5, so I want to do a little bit here. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you don't care about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just skip past this. But, yeah, Season 5 is okay. Not my favorite season. I mean, I would rank it up quality-wise to about Season 1 or 2. But, yeah, I mean, it's got some pretty good parts in it, in particular with the ending and stuff. And eventually it does start getting going, which is kind of just sort of a staple of this series now. It starts off really slow, and then, you know, just eventually stuff happens. But there was one episode in particular this season that really stood out to me. That being the Devil's Complex. And oh my god, Ian, you are great in that episode. Seriously, I have rewatched that episode so many times. It was just a really great episode. I won't give away the twist, but it is so good. Just watch it. Even if you don't watch the show, watch that episode. It is great. Yeah, so and that's pretty much what sold me on this movie, is him being in it. Even though in the trailer they reveal that he just dies. Wow, I wonder what will be the fate of his character in this film. Is he gonna live till the end? Nope, he dies. Or maybe this is just to, like, I don't know, play with our expectations. Maybe he does live to the end. That would be a surprise. But, yeah, given what they show, I highly doubt it. But still, I am looking forward to seeing his role in this film. So, yeah, those are pretty much the two actors that really sold me on this movie. I mean, like, I was already kind of sold on it just from the Nazi zombie thing. But, then they show Fitz. I'm just like, just shut up and take my money. Here it is. I don't actually have my money out. But, yeah, just take it. So, yeah, that pretty much just sold me on it. Yeah, this movie actually did get a bit of intrigue before it came out. I haven't really read any reviews to confirm this because I'm trying to go into it spoiler-free for the most part, but, a lot of people did speculate that this would be a part of the Cloverfield universe because, well, there was a poster that looked very similar to a lot of Cloverfield artwork, although I will argue that that was a very early poster, and this was produced by J.J. Abrams, so, I mean, like, that could just been like him just putting something in place for when they actually did get the real poster, which, by the way, the poster with the blood spatter that actually, like, just becomes parachutes and, like, a plane, awesome poster. I love that poster. That was my favorite. But, yeah, so, yeah, also the fact that J.J. Abrams is producing it is something that really convinced people that this might be a part of the Cloverfield universe, and honestly, I think that that's just kind of weird. I mean, I do see the connections to it, but honestly, they seem kind of loose. I mean, the movie itself doesn't really look like it'll have any connection to that at all. So I don't really see why they would think that outside of just two things. I mean, yeah, it could still connect to it, but I would like to give J.J. Abrams the benefit of the doubt now that not every horror movie that he produces has to be a part of the Cloverfield universe. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I would still like to give it the benefit of the doubt, and if I am wrong, then I'll at least be in for a surprise. So, let's actually talk about the trailer itself. Probably the biggest complaint that I would have with it is that it is very mixed on tone, at the very least from the official trailer. I have seen other trailers and stuff, but yeah, we just look at the first trailer for this one mostly because, well, I just like looking at the official one because, I mean, that's the official way they're selling the movie, so yeah, and so for the official one, it starts off fairly dramatic, showing a soldier pretty much who's just been randomly drafted and doesn't really know what he's going to do in any of this. And also, like, focusing on what's happened to these people in, like, this war zone and everything. But then all of a sudden there's explosions and AC/DC's blasting and there are zombies everywhere. So yeah, there's a bit of a change in tone, which it kind of goes back to at the end, which is weird. But pretty much the first half of it seems to sort of be building up suspense, while the second half is just insanity. And I don't really know what they're going for with that. It seems very mixed. It feels like a completely different movie. But I don't know, maybe that's how the movie will be like. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in seeing how exactly that'll reflect the film itself, and I'm also kind of interested in seeing the actual tone that it goes for, and if it goes for a more fun sort of feel, or if it goes for a more drama as well as fun mixed in. So yeah, that's sort of just what I'm interested in seeing which will happen, and yeah, I'm mostly kind of either... And yeah, I'm for either tone because, I mean, I always like fun horror movies, but I'm also a fan of ones that try to focus on the more human aspect of it, so I'm for either or here. So, yeah, this movie looks very interesting to me. I've honestly been excited for it since I first saw the official trailer, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the after part. So, I had now gotten back from Overlord. a few months ago, but better late than never, I guess. So yeah, I got back from it, and it was kind of what I was expecting. Okay, so let's start off with the story. Pretty much, American paratroopers are sent to take out a Nazi operations tower, and they end up finding out that apparently there's a whole lot worse things going on just behind the scenes in an underground lab. So pretty much most of the movie is them finding out what it is and, well, how to stop it. So, like I said before, I was mostly sold on this movie with the first trailer. I mean, yes, it did have a very mixed tone, but overall, it seemed like a very fun film. What I ended up getting wasn't really that, but not in a bad way. Okay, so it's actually more of a war movie than a zombie flick. I mean, the zombie stuff is actually pretty well built up throughout, even from the very beginning. Like, right when they get to where the tower is, there's already build up to it, so it is there, and it's always omnipresent, but it's never really the main focus. For the most part, it's actually just treated as a war movie, and it doesn't really take that lightly. There are some very, very intense and dramatic stuff in this. Like, there are some very sudden deaths, and we get to see the effects of the war, not just on the civilians, but also on the soldiers themselves. Now, that would probably be where my main complaint would be, is both with the soldiers and with the characters overall, but I'll get into that more in a little bit. But yeah, as for the story, it's actually handled pretty well. It's got a good amount of suspense, but it still knows how to deliver on what it sold me on, you know, fun Nazi zombie stuff. So yeah, it does still deliver on that. It just takes a while to get there. Pretty much when it does come there, oh, it goes full force. There are Nazi zombies being killed left and right, and it's awesome. There are tons of explosions. There's a flamethrower. It's awesome, and you really do, and it really is just a bunch of fun. However, it never really lets go of that suspense that's still there throughout most of the movie, and that's honestly more of the consistent feel of this, and honestly, I really enjoyed it for that. It took itself seriously, but knew how to balance it out in a way that could still make it fun, and I really liked the way that was handled. However, if there was one thing that I would have to say that I didn't really like in it, that would be the end credits. Okay, so, yeah, this is a weird thing to nitpick, but yeah, this is kind of one of my biggest nitpicks of the film. This World War II movie ends with very modern sounding rap music. Like, it's not even like from when rap music first started or anything. It sounds very modern, and it's just, why? It's just so jarring. Just why? Why couldn't they have ended this with, I don't know, something from the era, maybe? I don't know, just a hunch there, but that might have been a bit fitting. But no, rap music. Why? Just why? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fit with the feel of the film at all. It feels very out of place, but yeah, if you like rap music randomly put into zombie World War II movies, then you're gonna love the end credits of this. I don't know why you're into that, but you're gonna love it. So, yeah, I didn't like it personally. I felt like they could have just, I don't know, used something from the era, or just used the soundtrack, which is what they play immediately after, so it makes it even more jarring. I guess that the song was written for the movie or something, but still, it's just really random and weird, and it just doesn't match. It doesn't gel right. It just felt weird to me, but, yeah, that's kind of one of my major critiques of this film, seriously. There weren't that many things I had a problem with it. But then there's also the other thing. So yeah, there are pretty much two things I didn't overly like in this, and the second one would have to be the characters. Now, don't get me wrong, I found a lot of them, actually most of them, to be very likable or despicable, whichever one you need them to be, and I honestly did find them to be pretty fun, or at the very least to have some interesting aspects to them. However, they are generic. They are very generic, so much so that in my notes for, like, listing all the characters I always have, I just sort of wrote some of them down as, like, their stereotype that they are. Like, look at this. I wrote one of them as a hothead. That was sort of it. Like, that's his character. Fascinating, isn't it? Yeah, he's a hothead character. Woo! That's kind of all that he is. I mean, by the end of the movie, he mellows out a little bit. So, I mean, at least there's character development with them. But that's still just sort of taking pretty generic characters and developing them out a little bit more. And pretty much just taking them away from what they were. And that's just sort of the problem with them to me. I mean, I don't hate the characters in this. Actually, I really enjoy them. But, I mean, I didn't want any of them to die or anything, but they just weren't overly interesting. So, yeah, let's start from the top here with Boyce. So, Boyce is pretty much the reluctant one who pretty much ended up randomly drafted, and yeah, he doesn't really want to be a part of this war. He has no real stakes in it. He didn't really want to be there or anything. He would much rather prefer just not being involved in it, but instead he was pretty much drawn into this, and, well, he pretty much does what he has to survive, even if it's stuff that he doesn't want. And, yeah, he's a fairly interesting character. However, one thing that I did find that was kind of interesting, there aren't really any main characters in this. They all just sort of get balanced out amount of screen time, so while he feels like he's supposed to be the main character, kind of all of them are, and I really do like that. Like, at the very least, they all get the appropriate amount of screen time, so they all get to share it. I really did enjoy that. But yeah, Boyce is honestly a likable character. He's a nice guy. I don't hate him or anything, and he's got some awesome moments in this, just pretty much he's kind of generic. Then there's Ford. He is played by Wyatt Russell. And, oh my god, this is a totally different role than what he plays normally. At the very least, what I see him play a lot, which, like I said before, I sort of see him play a surfer dude character a lot, whereas in here, he plays a hardened soldier who has seen all this stuff before. Like, he pretty much hasn't gotten connected to his fellow soldiers because he knows that it's pretty much inevitable that most of them are going to die, and honestly, I found that to be pretty interesting. He was probably one of the ones in this movie that I would argue is actually one of the more fascinating characters in here, as yes, this character has been done before, but I think that what Wyatt Russell brought to it was actually really good, and I think that he was a fairly interesting character, and the way that we sort of see him loosen up and ultimately decide that he should sacrifice himself for the greater good in the way that he sees fit, yeah, I do really like how it still sticks with his ideals, but also you can see the growth in his character there, and I do really like how that's handled. So, yeah, I honestly found him to be one of the more interesting characters out of this. Well, I mean, yes, okay, like I said, they're pretty much all generic, but yeah, I do think that he's one of the ones that does actually have a little bit more of a branching out, personality-wise. Then there's Cleo. She's pretty much one of the civilians in the town, and she ends up becoming, well, a very useful asset to the paratroopers, as she pretty much, well, she knows the place for one, but also she sort of opens them up to more of the innocents that would get harmed in the process of this war, and sort of allows them to, well, see what damage they're really doing, not just to, well, not just to their enemies, but also to, well, the civilians that get harmed in the process. And I like seeing how they sort of shine a spotlight on some people that would get realistically harmed just from being caught in the crossfires here. And I like seeing that she was probably a very nice person at one time, but has been harmed by the experiences of losing some members of her family, and just overall losing what she had in her life. Like, she had a lot going for her, but she ended up coming back here in order to help her family and some of her friends. She had a good reason for giving up what she had, and it just shows that she's even more of a noble character, despite not really showing it that much. So yeah, she's actually a fairly interesting one, but yeah, still, I mean, she's fine, but honestly, to me, she wasn't overly interesting. Pretty much the character on paper was interesting, but I don't think that she was as fascinating as she could have been. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like her, and seeing her with a flamethrower getting revenge was freaking awesome, but she's just not really the most interesting one to me. Then there's her brother, Paul, or at least I think that he was Paul, I don't really remember. I checked IMDb, I checked, like, a lot of places to see, like, what was her brother's name, or at the very least who played her brother and stuff. I honestly totally forgot. So, yeah, I think that his name was Paul. I don't really remember. If it's not, then I don't know, just calling him Paul. So, he is probably the most generic character in this. Pretty much, he is just sort of the little boy who gets caught in the crossfire, and ultimately they need to save him because he got kidnapped, because he got taken into the experiments and stuff, and he also, like, he's just this really nice kid who's just really sweet and innocent, and hey, he even likes baseball. He's just such a great kid. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a fine character, and I mean, hey, at the very least, the actor did a pretty good job, but, there's nothing of really interesting with him there. I mean, even if there were some interesting things in his characterization, he doesn't even really say that much. He just sort of feels like sort of a goal in this movie, like, we gotta save this kid. It feels like he's a side quest, not really a character, but I will say that he is actually okay. I mean, like I said, his actor did a pretty decent job. It's just, there wasn't really anything really interesting about him to me. Then there's Tibbet. He's the hothead character. That's kind of all he is. By the end of the movie, he kind of mellows out a little bit more and comes to appreciate a lot more things, and that's pretty much where the kid came into play, because he actually does form a bit of a relationship with him by playing baseball and stuff like that. They pretty much bond over the course of events, and it sort of shows a well, a much less hothead side to him, and honestly, it's fine. I liked his character, just, he's not a really, like I said, a lot of these characters have been done before, and Tibbet's pretty much one of the biggest cases of that, as he's just sort of the hothead, and then he goes through a character arc, and he's good at the end, yay. But, yeah, I was surprised that they almost killed him. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a spoiler thing for this one, because there isn't really that much to spoil, but, yeah, it seemed like he was gonna die at one point, and honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did, so, well, I did sort of get annoyed that they didn't actually kill him off, because seriously, not that many characters die in this, or at the very least, not out of the main cast of characters, but yeah, I was surprised they didn't, so yeah. And then there's Chase. He's a war photographer, and he is played by Leo Fitz, yes. Okay, well, E&D, whatever his last name is. But yeah, I know him as Fitz, so yeah, he's fine in this. Like, I mean, his actor, of course, is gonna be great, because, I mean, like, I'm a fan of him, so yeah. But, yeah, character-wise, he's just sort of the photographer, and that's kind of it. He actually seemed to be more experienced than Boyce was, though, a little bit, which I found to be kind of interesting, but yeah, that was kind of it. I mean, he's a nice guy and all, but that's kind of all. Don't hate him or anything. I really enjoyed him, but knowing that he's gonna die just from any bit of footage that you see from this movie for any type of promotion, yeah, that kind of takes out, like, you know, interest in him. Like, oh man, I really like this character. Oh wow, I wonder if he's gonna die though. I mean, I know I saw in the trailer that he is, but I don't know. That could have been a fake out. It wasn't, so yeah. But, his death had meaning, because that's how they found out about the zombie stuff, so you died with purpose, Chase. You died with purpose. And then there's Wafner. He's the Nazi character in this. Pretty much, he's the Nazi big bad in this, and where that's concerned, yeah, I will say, he does a very good job in that, because this character is absolutely despicable, and I kind of love him for that. Like, he is very over-the-toply evil. It's honestly kind of hilarious. He's pretty much the fun, even though, like, he does some really horrible stuff in this, the actor just does it so well. He portrays the fact that he's a villain so well, and so just out of the gately. It's so great. Honestly, I really enjoyed him as a villain. But yeah, his character-wise, like, in the context of the movie, yeah, he's a horrible character. I mean, like, he's a horrible person and everything, but God, he was fun to watch on screen. And honestly, I mean, he's just sort of the over-the-top big bad, and where that's concerned, I enjoyed him. And then for the last one, there's Rosenfeld. Yeah, I honestly sort of thought this one would die, like, very early on. He's kind of like the scrawny one out of the group. and he's actually makes it through the whole thing despite being experimented on and everything. He makes it through. So yeah, I like how they played with my expectations there. That was actually really nice. I totally expected him to be dead, but no, he actually does make it through, and I honestly was really I honestly was very surprised by that, and I honestly thought it was really cool. It really did play with my expectations with him, and I like how they sort of had him be a really don't judge the book by his cover there, because he really does, like, even the characters point out he's probably gonna die, but actually he ends up surviving throughout the whole thing, and I honestly found it to be really awesome. And I like that he actually is kind of the one that isn't the most generic, like, yeah, okay, he is a little bit, he does sort of fit into that sort of scrawny, like, sort of nerdy type of character, but you can tell that he kind of wanted to prove something about himself, but also that, well, he's just a loyal and good soldier, and he pretty much just follows that, and I honestly really liked his character. He's also pretty fun. I enjoyed him. I like how he went through a lot of crap in this movie, but yeah, I honestly was very surprised that he came out of it, and yeah, I really enjoyed him for that. So yeah, I really like how they played with my expectations for him there. So yeah, for this movie overall, I honestly really enjoyed it. Now, it doesn't really give me what it completely sold me on, or at the very least what I was going into it for until near the end, but that's not a bad thing. It knows how to balance that out with, honestly, a very well-handled story, and characters that, while they might not be the most interesting or unique, they are still very likable, and I didn't find myself hating any of them, well, unless it's the Nazi ones, because they're just made to be completely hateable, and yeah, rightfully so. So yeah, I honestly like how they sort of handled that as well, because they can be very over the top in their villainy, and I honestly really enjoyed that. So yeah, for this movie overall, I highly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it too. It was a really strong film that I think just sort of carried itself very well. There are a few minor critiques I had, but overall, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, so yeah, go watch it if you haven't already. It's been out for a while, so just go watch it. It's a good movie. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye. So what do you think this movie's gonna be like?
Well, you said it's Nazi zombies.
Yep, that's pretty much what it is.
Based on a video game?
No, it's actually based off of a real World War II operation.
Wait, they were gonna create Nazi zombies?
Well, no, minus the zombies, minus that.
Because I guess it sounds like something they would have done, like
Yeah.
revive their dead soldiers and be like,
We tried it. Oh man, it didn't work.
what could have gone wrong?
What could have been? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what actually happened during the operation. Something happened.
And there were a lot of weird operations during the Second World War, so.
Yeah. So, do you think it's gonna be good or what?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully it is.
Okay, it's gotta be close to get volume. What'd you think of it?
It was interesting. Like, wasn't sure what to expect.
The rap was not expected at the end of this.
Yeah, that kind of.
Wait, Andy Callister, sorry.
Yeah, that kind of ticked me off guard.
Yeah.
Not very World War II-ish.
Yeah.
Rap. World War II rap.
So, did you like it though?
Yeah.
Okay.